I've been involved in additive manufacturing research conferences for almost 20 years. Much more of a newcomer to RAPID, but over the last couple of years coming to RAPID, one of the interesting things about it is because I've been the director of an additive manufacturing center at my university, it's really informative to be able to walk around the floor, see what the newest technologies are, where the industry is going, and you can see that changing from year to year, and that's really very interesting, and being able to talk to people about what are the newest things they're working on, what are the gaps that they see in industry, because I really feel that academia, if we're doing our job right, we should be doing the things that in a year or 2 or 3 or 5 will appear on the floor here at RAPID, right? So we need to understand what those gaps are. So it's a lot of fun to come to RAPID and see where the technology is today and where it's going.
I believe my first RAPID was in 2005. I'll have to go back to that. But I became a member in 2004. I strongly believe, my background is in mechanical engineering, but I have a strong belief that additive is manufacturing and SME is manufacturing. So, and additive manufacturing is not isolated comparing other manufacturing, traditional manufacturing technologies. Being able to have that here at SME allows us to leverage additive with other manufacturing technologies, because I believe the strength of additive is really enhancing other technologies, whilst at the same time, like we just talked about, using it for end use.
We just finished our panel discussion on end use parts. We had 4 industry experts talking about their perspectives on end use parts, and particularly some of the barriers to end use parts. I think you'll often hear people mentioning things like we're still looking for a killer app for additive that people can talk about. I think we have a few of those already, but we need more. And so what are some of the barriers to that? And I think some of our panelists had some really interesting things to say about those barriers, like, for example, workforce development, making sure all of our engineers understand how to design for additive. They also talked about the need for a wider selection of materials, better process repeatability. They talked about emerging standards and the influence of that on the industry. So it was a really interesting discussion of some of the trends and barriers around end-use parts in industry.
Some of the distinctions made was certification versus qualification. So there was really an example where the surface finish of the parts was not a barrier into the end-use application for that part. And in most cases, we find that, additive manufacturing, as one of the panelists stated, is held to a much higher standard than traditional manufacturing. And that tends to be sort of a barrier. Overcoming that and focusing on what that application is can allow you to really utilize more additive manufacturing use cases for end use.
So one of the things I've seen, certainly, I've been teaching an additive manufacturing class at my university for almost 15 years. And when I first started teaching it 15 years ago, students had very limited experience with additive of any sort. Even the desktop printers were just really starting to become prevalent. And then it's transitioned to the point where now you have students who've done hours and hours and hours of work already on desktop 3D printers. And so that gives them this introduction to additive manufacturing, but one of the things I find in teaching is that they can be, in many cases, completely unaware of the world outside of a desktop polymer printer.
So what gets me excited about AM, additive manufacturing, is the fact that it is what is still beyond. I taught a class yesterday, a workshop yesterday, to 25 additive manufacturing professionals looking to get certified. And we talk about all different aspects of additive manufacturing. And I made a statement to them, and most did come back and said, yeah, we still agree with that. And this is what gets me excited, that even today, our systems, our 3D printers, can print parts that we cannot design. We don't have the ability to design. Because these printers can change energy density, they can change their light source, every layer or every area on the build volume, right? But we cannot design files that will allow them to do that, to leverage that. So it's telling me there's just so much out there that we can still do with these technologies. So we haven't cracked the surface yet. And that's what gets me excited. There's